How can you bring a more flirtatious vibe to a conversation? If you're stuck in boring small talk, how can you shift gears and begin flirting with a woman? That's what we're going to discuss in this video. Hi, I'm Bobby Rio, and over the past few weeks, I've been on a bit of a little kick, right? Working with some of my clients and having them experiment with different flirting techniques. First off, it's pretty damn fun to go out with the mindset of experimentation, right? It takes all the pressure off and it allows you to indulge in your sense of curiosity, playfulness. And being curious, being playful with a woman and about a woman is attractive. Most guys are stuck in their own head worrying about what they're gonna say next, that they forget to actually be curious about her, or curious about what happens if I do this, what happens if I say this, how is she gonna react, right? If you're not seeing results with what you're doing now, why not say screw it and just do the opposite of everything you'd normally do and see what happens? Did you ever see the episode of Seinfeld with George where he changes his life just by doing the opposite? It might be worth a shot for you. Anyway, during my last couple weeks working with these clients who are out there and they're experimenting in the field, I was reminded of two flirting tools that I don't recommend nearly as often as I should, and I wanted to pass them along to you. So, what are they? The first is radical honesty. I actually made a vow to myself to try using radical honesty after watching a few episodes of the show Californication back in the day. If you never watched the show, go on Netflix or whatever, find it. The main character, Hank Moody, he epitomizes the idea of using honesty as a flirting tool. The whole idea of this tool is to basically not filter your thoughts and to not hide your intentions, right? So for instance, if a girl asks you what you do for a living, and maybe your first reaction is to make something up or to change the subject if you're not really comfortable talking about what you do or you think it's boring, you could actually turn it into a flirting opportunity by saying, yeah, I'm trying to think of something big and fancy to impress you, maybe tell you that, maybe increase my odds a bit. What kind of job would I have to say that would really turn you on? Would I tell you I'm a rock star, a mailman, a pool boy? The key to this flirting tool is that you've got to keep it up throughout the interaction, right? The great part is that once you've established yourself as bluntly honest, you can really get away with saying almost anything. I've seen a lot of my friends who use this all the time. Okay, so the next is something that I call disqualifiers. So I remember a time I was in the middle of a conversation with a girl, and I had a really good vibe with her, right? Because I had a girlfriend at the time, though, I wanted to try to diffuse the situation before I wound up doing something that I would regret. So I decided to start disqualifying myself to her. And little did I know, it had the exact opposite effect, and it wound up making her want me even more. So what I said was something along the lines, if I wasn't such an asshole, we might really, really hit it off. And she was like, shut up, you're not an asshole. And I was like, no, seriously, I'm an asshole. I'm the biggest asshole in the world. I come across as really charming at first, but eventually I become the guy that you're constantly bitching to your friends about, and you're, trust me. And she asked me, like, what makes you such an asshole? And at this time, I'm just like, oh, I got to get rid of this girl. And I'm like, a whole ton of reasons. First off, I have a huge ego. I'm completely self-centered. I have the attention span of a child, and I began looking away like I lost my train of thought. Oh, and I always leave the toilet seat up. No matter how many times you'll tell me to keep it down, I refuse, right? Needless to say, everything that I was saying was making the girl laugh, and it created a very flirtatious vibe and left things very easy to transition into like a role play situation. Now you can use disqualifiers with just about anything. The more absurd, the better. Now real quick, if you'd like dozens of tips like this, if your conversations and your flirting need some work, then grab a copy of my Charismatic Conversation Secrets book. It's only less than $10. It's literally 10 years of my top conversation and flirting tips with word-for-word examples, the best conversation topics, and so much more, and you'll get it all for under $10. Now, these that I gave you now are just two flirting tools that you might want to try out the next time you're talking to a woman, but more importantly is for you to keep the mindset of experimentation, of curiosity. Because here's the thing, once you know the 5 attraction switches, you'll begin seeing them, and there's a variety of ways to keep flipping that switch. You can flirt in dozens of different ways. As always, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you'd like me to cover in future videos.